Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Triforce podcast. That's right, we're back. Three strapping young men.
They'll be here in a bit.
Just talking about whatever it is on their stupid minds at this point in time. We got Lewis here as usual. Hi, Lewis.
Hello.
And we have Pyrian Flax here as well as usual. Hi, Flax.
Hello.
And your host with the most, Mr. Saturday Night himself. It's me. It's Sips. Hi. How are you guys doing? Lewis didn't want to do the intro today for whatever reason, so I've done it.
I think it went well.
Rate me. Let me know. Let me know how this one went. Yeah.
You know what, Mr. Saturday Night. That is a true honorific. Like
that's
I would
a
love.
Title, eh?
I would love to earn that title.
What a
Be
title!
Like, it's Mr. Saturday Night.
I know.
Oh,
I know. Like just the thought of Saturday night, right? Like the mystical Saturday night that everybody loves so much. I mean, it means different things to different people, I guess. But
it means one thing. It means you can get as drunk as you like, and you've got Sunday to recover.
It's party time, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Party Time. Yeah, that's.
Or like the big guy on Saturday Night TV back when that was a thing. That the
Some
idea
other,
that was the good shows was on Saturday night.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, not so much now.
No.
I don't know if you've ever watched Saturday Night TV recently. It's pretty bad.
Shit.
Honorable mentions to Soul Brother #1, also quite a good title. Mr. Dynamite as well.
Oof.
Come on. I mean, Mr. Dynamite, Mr. Saturday Night.
I think
They're
if you have any title that involves being called the animal or the machine,
yeah.
There's expectation there.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of it is you earn that title at a young age. It's like being called the next Pele. You know what I mean? Or the next Maradona. Sometimes it's tough to live up to that title. People expect it. People now, it's Mr. Saturday Night, the machine, the animal himself. And he's like, yeah, night after night. He's got to fucking be there. He's got to turn it on. He's got to deliver a mind-melting weekend.
I feel like the machine could be like, it could deprecate though, right? Like, what if you were nicknamed the machine like in the 1920s?
Yeah.
And the kind of machine people had in mind at the time was like, you know, one of those manual push lawnmowers without an engine, good. You know? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then,
what kind of machine?
You're like 75 years old and you're still the machine, but you're rusty and shit. Like,
the
you don't
iron
work
lung
that well
is
anymore.
a machine. Yeah, it's an iron lung, basically.
Yeah, I feel like machine is also more modern. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a more feudal system when you give people these honorifics, right? Like they have to be I don't know, the queen of our hearts. You know, they have to be the voice of a generation. They have to be, you know, the sweetheart. You know, like Wales's sweetheart or something like that. Do you know, they always have to be, or the princess, or the duke, or the crown prince.
And those are old ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like the OG legendary nicknames, you know, whereas machine sounds more modern. Do you know what I mean? Like I could call you could call someone that, but it's not necessarily a good one, right? It's not necessarily flattering.
Yeah,
it might imply that they work too hard, you know, and they should take a day off once in a while.
Yeah,
is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think just having a day off. Yeah,
give some time for themselves. I realise.
I recommend that. Yeah,
but if you're royalty, you know, if TV or pop royalty, there's going to be some obligations that come with that. You know, you have to, you've got responsibilities. It's not a lot of pressure. You know,
got the weight of the world on your shoulders there. That's a tough one.
Exactly. And what you're going to do. I reckon we need to come up with some more modern ones. Do you know what I mean? Like
Meme Lord, Mr. Meme Lord, Mr. Memer. What are some Mr. Saturday Night TikTok or something like that, you know, like you can make some modern ones that mean something nowadays. Because I mean, if you're saying Mr. Saturday Night and you're thinking of like Saturday Night TV now, I mean, that sucks. You might as well just be called Mr. Sucks. Like that stinks. Yeah. But if you're Mr. Saturday Night in the context of fun things to do on Saturday night. I don't know what people do for fun on Saturday nights now. I mean, I gave up having fun years ago, so like I'm not in the know.
People do whatever they want to do now. That's the thing, so, right? Yeah. Like everyone's doing something different.
They go to like poetry recitals and stuff, or is that? I guess that happened a long time ago.
The internet has allowed people to just get wet in the waterfall of shit that is everything. You know, it's everything. There's everything. People fucking making dicks out of pottery. There's people fucking knitting Sonic the Hedgehog in a fucking plastic. Do you know what I mean? There's people were doing everything, Sips.
Man, oh, man.
And good for them.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, like
I'm glad they're doing it. Yeah,
you do it.
Yeah, get out there.
Just
get
do
out
it.
There,
Go. Just give you a gran a game of Scrabble.
Yeah, honestly, this leads on to an interesting topic, one that's relevant for me right now. In the spirit of just doing it, my son is learning how to play the saxophone at school. You know, they have they don't have a set music class. I remember when I was young, we actually had music class.
Yeah.
You went to music class, and if you wanted to hire a instrument, like, you know, something fancy like a trumpet or a clarinet or whatever, you could. There was like the means to do that. And anybody who didn't just played the recorder along with everybody else playing there. So it sounded like shit, but it was a way to get into music.
Is this like microtransactions at school? You know, you start with the recorder, but you could upgrade.
Like, there was always like a couple of kids at school who didn't go on field trips and stuff like that. It must just been like a cost thing, I guess. Like, and there was certain like electives as well. Like, I don't know if you ever had this, but we got to the point at school where when we were about like 13 or 14, you had like winter and summer electives, and the winter electives were to go skiing. Which a lot of people did, but like I never did. My parents weren't into skiing, and like, you know, just to send me skiing, something I'd never really done before, would have cost like a bunch of money, and they're just like, no, don't go skiing. To me
as well. I remember.
So I ended up going swimming instead. that was the alternative. You got taken to the pool that was attached to the school, and you just swam for like the afternoon with like all the other people who didn't go skiing, sort of thing. But I feel like music class was like that too. But you always had the fallback, the recorder. So my son doesn't have a full class. It's just like it's private tuition, tutorage, but they offer you the chance. They're like, if you want your kids to experience like musical instruments or whatever, you can sign them up. You can rent an instrument from like the music store or whatever, and then we have
these are all the hidden costs of being a parent, you know.
Well, yeah. So a guy comes in on their lunch break, and then whoever signed up for this goes in and has their lessons or whatever. And it's like, I don't know, like I always feel like if my son wants to do something, I always make sure that he does it, you know, like I support him in doing it, because I feel like the more stuff he's sort of like exposed to, like, you know, music or whatever, there's a chance of something sticking, you know what I mean, rather than him just growing up and not being interested in anything and not wanting to do anything, and that being off the back of me being like, oh no, you're not going to stick with that, so I'm not going to send you on that or spend the money or whatever. I always feel like it's always worth just sending them on anything they feel like doing to try it out. Like we sent him to this like Brazilian football school, a soccer school, which was again like an after school thing. And most of the kids there were like their dads were super into football, so they were super into football and they were really good and stuff. My son was not into football. I'm not really into football. He didn't have any football skills or whatever, but he enjoyed it. Like he just ran around or whatever and like, you know, tried his best. And then, you know, after a couple of weeks, he's just like, nah, I don't really feel like going anymore. And it's like, yeah, fine. I mean, whatever. Like you tried it out. Like, you know, it might have been something you liked or not. Like it doesn't matter. Like as long as you had fun. He's like, oh yeah, I had fun. So, okay.
I think it's, if you think about musical instruments, I know that Jean, our eldest, she played the cello for a couple of years at school. But neither myself nor Mrs. F play any kind of musical instruments. Like I think Mrs. F played the violin or something when she was at school, but none of her. Neither
what are you talking about? You're like a virtuoso in the skin flute.
Oh man, well,
yeah,
you know what would be so good though? Like imagine you were really good at like playing the bass, and your daughter just starts playing cello, and you just come out slapping that bass.
Right,
like,
right.
Okay, like getting all Seinfeld.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if you think about it, all those musicians say, yeah, you know, my dad was a guitarist and my mum sang. There was always a lot of music around the house and stuff. If she came home with her cello, she was playing and I was playing and Mrs. F was singing. That would hook you into music and get you into it, get you an ear for it and get you into it early on.
Sure.
And I always thought the things that I do, I'm a massive letdown to my kids in terms of expanding their worldview beyond staring at a screen, because that's pretty much what I'm into.
Yeah.
And that's now also pretty much what they're into. And I wish I could have encouraged them, but it's impossible for me to encourage her to play the cello alone, very poorly, because I can't help her.
Yeah.
It's boring practicing on your own, just playing the fucking cello day in, day out. So she quit. And I thought, that's fair enough, because I would have done the same. I wish that I had been a talented and interesting parent, because I think it would have helped some cool skills rub off on her. But I'm sorry, sweetie, I don't have anything.
Know if that
I
is.
don't think that's
reality.
the case. Yeah, I
It
think
absolutely is the case. Think how many people that do something. I mean, look at the things that you do that your kids are interested in. Look at the things that other people who do something. Like I have some friends of mine who are really into sailing and surfing, and all their kids are great swimmers and sailors and surfers.
Yeah, but again, like you will naturally just do the things that your parents do, but at a certain point you'll branch off from that and want to just do your own things, right? There's a good example in the Notorious B.I.G. actually, coming back to what you were saying about you being like the leader of sort of, if I was doing something similar to what my daughter was practicing at the time, she went a bit more into it or whatever. There was this guy that lived in the neighborhood who was sort of like a minor sort of jazz celebrity. He used to play like the trumpet or the saxophone or whatever. And he used to live in the same neighborhood as Notorious B.I.G. And as when he was growing up, he was like just his mom. He lived with his mom. And his mom like listened to a bit of music, but not much music or whatever. Like certainly nothing to like really catapult him into being like, interested in music and stuff. But he befriended this guy who's this local jazz musician, sought him out, went to visit him every day just to listen to jazz records with him, learn from him and stuff. But it was him. He was the catalyst for it.
Right.
It wasn't the guy seeking him out and saying like, I'm going to get you into music because you're going to be a big star one day. It was the other way around.
That's not common, is it? That's my point.
It's not.
Most kids
isn't
take
common.
their cue for things from their parents.
But I think you getting her into, or at least trying to get her into something is sort of the basis for the spark, right? Like she might be doing that and it just click one day and she's like, yeah, I really do like this, actually. I'm really into this and I'm going to pursue it and do the things I need to do.
It could very well be the opposite though, right?
But yeah, like, and
if my dad
more
wants
often
me to
than
do
not,
this,
probably
I'm
the
not
opposite.
do it.
But you still got to try, right? Like I feel like you have to try.
Well, I think you have to support, right? Like
Yes.
I think, for example, often these things that I've learned in my own life is that the things I end up doing, I've kind of tricked myself into doing. Like, if I was learning a musical instrument now, I'd probably try and get a book of songs that are, I don't know, something that I'm interested in. Like, I don't know, sea shanties or something weird. Do you know what I mean? That I could, like, learn to play something specific. Like, or when I was a kid, like, I was interested because I was playing, like, video game theme tunes and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
God, I was such a fucking nerd. I was so basically, like, I wanted to play the saxophone. But
Right.
I think for whatever reason, the school thought you're not cool enough to play sax, so you could have a clarinet. So I was there, trying to play, like, I don't know, fucking Sonic the Hedgehog on clarinet. There was actually this week, the original Sonic the Hedgehog composer who did the Green Hills theme, he actually... or she, I think, or they, I can't remember who it is, but they put out like a song where they wrote lyrics for that classic song, completely redid the song.
Right.
And it's like really weird, the lyrics for it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can imagine, right? It's probably not what you'd expect.
Boy clothes are bluish, boy's shoes are reddish, boy looks at watch, boy drops coins and scatters there. I can't remember how it goes, but it's something like that, isn't it?
Really?
The Sonic fucking
Yeah.
It's well, you can tell why I didn't end up being allowed to play the saxophone.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like everything that I've done that's been worth doing in my life, I haven't thought about it much, and I haven't tried very hard for it either. Like things that I've thought about and tried to do, I've 100% of the time given up and walked away from. Like, just thought,
Well, but listen, that's
I'm
not how it
always like
works.
forcing myself to do
But
something.
you ask anyone who's good at something how some of them, sure, they force themselves and they have to sometimes, and some of these
you
people
do hear
did.
about it, yeah, but I think for me specifically, like I just like, if I'm not living it, I'm not doing it, like.
But I think a lot of people, they don't consider the things that they love and they are experts in hard or work or effort or they had to force themselves. It just came very naturally, and I think you see that a lot of the time. I think that you can't control what your children or you are going to find interesting at any one time. And I mean, yes, we are surrounded by the waterfall of shit on the internet, and we're pulled each and every way. And you can just leave a series of abandoned projects in your wake and look at them sadly and be like, oh, I'm sad that I never learned how to play Sonic 2 theme on clarinet. I could have been a virtuoso. I could be up on stage right now. But I don't think you need to think like that. I think you just need to... trying new stuff actually is sometimes, I think, better than just grinding your head against something you're not enjoying.
I've sort of come to... I never feel bad for not completing stuff because, especially the older I get, I look at it as more of an experience rather than a start to finish thing. I did it with
books relatively recently because I started realizing that I really wanted to read books, but I kept getting stymied by a shit book, and then I'd be like, I don't want to read because I'm halfway through this book that I don't like, and so I started just abandoning books. And man, it's fucking...
I've been abandoning books for years.
Oh man,
if I'm not into it,
it's relatively recent for me.
TV series,
I felt
movies.
like I had to finish my plate. I don't know. I had this kind of dad attitude
games,
of
I often don't
children
finish
in Africa who would love to finish this book. Do you know what I mean?
They'd love to eat this book, but they can't.
I'd happily send it to them because I am definitely done with it, so they can have it.
Enjoy it.
Yeah.
In video games this week, Deathloop came out. Did you?
Oh, is it any good?
That?
I've heard that it's really good. I heard that people who have liked Dishonored, the game Dishonored, have really enjoyed it. And this is by the people who made Dishonored. It's not the same game, obviously, but
no. If you enjoyed Dishonored, I think you'd like it. I mean, it's about this island of the super rich who've sort of created this time loop so they can live out their wildest fantasies day after day. And sort of a little bit. I mean, that's sort of the little bit of a background of the setting. So you do end up. It makes the game cheaper, right? When you've got a time loop, you need to build a lot less settings.
I suppose it's an interesting idea, though.
And also, it's a lot of the time games do use this checkpoint mentality, right? Where if you die, you go back to the start of the day. So but I love a time loop. I mean, they're always an interesting genre to explore. And I think people are talking about it. I've downloaded it. I haven't had a go, so I don't know. Steam reviews are mixed, though.
I haven't picked it up. I mean, that doesn't mean necessarily.
But reviewer reviews are great. People, actual websites seem to
I
like
haven't picked it up, and I'm not going to pick
it
up until I'm sure I'm going to play it because I've acquired too many games that I've never played that I've spent money on, and I just think why did I buy that?
Send them to the starving children.
I bought Cyberpunk, I still haven't played it. I don't really intend on playing it either.
I saw you playing some power washing game the other day.
Oh yeah, no, that's it was yesterday, and it fucking owns. I'm not even.
I saw you say it was your game of the year, and I thought, I wonder if he's being sarcastic.
Good. No, I wasn't. It's really good. It's like painting. You feel like you're like Bob Ross or something. You're cleaning all the grime off of all these different.
What's it called?
Cars. It's called PowerWash Simulator.
Okay.
I just can't believe the games you play. I really cannot believe it.
It's so satisfying. I don't know why. There's just something about it. It's just nice and it's really relaxing.
We are we're just miles apart in terms of what games we enjoy.
Not always.
Be further apart.
Not always. I think
that game to me sounds like the worst thing ever. And you're saying it's your game of the year. I'm saying it's very rare that we agree on a game.
Well, what have you played this year that has blown you away that you would say is like game of the year? It's
blown me away.
Right?
I'm trying to think of
what
new games
have you even played?
Let me have a look at my library. So I'm new to Total War Warhammer 2.
Right.
I hadn't played that before. I owned it, but I'd never loaded it up for some reason. Loving that, really enjoying that. I think that's a really fun game. What else have I played this year that I enjoyed?
It's like 4 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm just super late to it.
So, but I think this comes back to we're different types of gamers, right? I think you're more of a habitual gamer than I am. You have a roster of games that you will play regularly, like. Right.
But can I just,
Dota,
in defense
like Tarkov,
of myself,
in defense
of myself, there is a reason for that. It's not that I'm a creature of habit when it comes to specific games. It's just that I don't find a lot of games that are actually good.
No, I
if
agree.
I do find a game that I really like, I'm like, this is it. So, for example, this year, Teardown was my game of the year. I absolutely fucking loved it. I think it might have come out last
Teardown was
year,
good. It came out
but
last year.
I think I played it this year. That was fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's a good
absolutely
game.
Loved it. What else did I play this year? I've played a bunch of things this year. I mean, here's my list of games played this year: Total Warhammer 2, Dota, Blood Bowl 2, which we started doing again. RimWorld, of course. Death Trash. I'm waiting on the full release of that. Played Hell Let Loose. Hearts of Iron, of course. Golf with Your Friends, which was frustrating, but that's not a new game. I played Humankind closed beta.
Yeah, Humankind is new. Yeah.
U-Boat. That's good. That's always getting patched. Griftlands finally came out. I think full release, that was good.
Yeah.
Tainted Grail was quite fun. I played some FTL again. Great game. Teardown, of course. I played Out of the Park Baseball 22, which will be of interest to about 3 people that listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Dwarf Romantic, I quite enjoyed that game. Project Hospital.
I picked that up as well. That was
Project
good.
Hospital was good.
Yeah, that was great. I think I recommended that to you.
Yeah, you did.
That was fun. I played Slay the Spire, of course. It was a classic game. Voxel Tycoon, which I'm waiting on that getting good, but I see some potential there. I quite like that. I dipped into Banner Saga a bit, but I got swayed off that by other things. Sherlock Holmes Crime and Punishment, we finally finished that. Played XCOM 2 again, of course. I played Moving Out with you. I remember that.
Was that the
that was
Steam...
the Valve thing that we did.
Yeah, that was fun actually. That was a good game.
I tried to play Stone Shard, but it's brutal because if you die, it undoes like an hour of work.
I didn't really like Stone Shard that much, but
I liked the game, the loop of it. I really enjoyed, but it's just I don't want to have to spend that much time on it. Stellaris, I haven't played since March apparently, but I know when I do go back, I'll be playing it for months at a time.
Yeah. I mean, I think we agree on like a lot of these games. I also like, but there's
that's a lot of games. You know, that's a lot of games. It's just that most of them weren't very good.
It's just such a different list to Sips' list, though. Really.
I play a lot of dumb sim games, but it's not because I like them fully as games. I like little mechanics or loops in them that will keep me occupied for a day or two or sometimes weeks, and I'll play them till I'm done, sort of thing. Like it's whatever. Like I don't mind. Like I've always got like a couple of things that I'm playing sort of in the background as well, and it's different strokes for different folks, I guess. But yeah, power washing sim I would say is probably not for everybody.
I would go the other way and say that you are a creature of obsession. that obsession lasts for a week. And then that's it. Like I'll see you're literally streaming one thing for like you're binge watching a series, and that is that game. Yeah. And you're like, and you're all over it, and then you're done.
Just done.
And I think that's
very
different.
It's a nice thing to be able to do though as well, because I don't know, like as fun as it is being into something, and I've always wanted to like be more into like one specific thing, I'm kind of glad that I'm not, because I feel like a lot of things, especially when they're around for too long, they just get worse, right? Like you look at your World of Warcraft and all these things. Like if I'd still been playing that game, would I be happy still playing it? Like I don't think so. Like I'm glad I gave up.
I know a load of people that still play it. Like when I streamed it, there were so many people that turned up and were giving me tips, and it's weird. There are certain games that when I play them or when I talk about certain things, like when I was talking about Bolt Action, for example, when I played it with Lewis and Ben the other month when I was down, so many messages and so many people in chat asking about it. There are these interests that loads of people have that are just you just wouldn't know. Like I didn't know that this game was so wildly popular, but the moment I started streaming, people were like, boom, oh my god, I love this game. This is like my favorite game ever, blah, blah, blah. It was really interesting to me. So I do try to play a variety of games, but I honestly just find that people that watch the stream a lot or that know me will try to recommend games. Here are the games, I don't know if you get this. When I'm streaming, I get people popping up and they ask about, there are 3 games that they ask me about.
There's probably 3 big fans who just say it over and over again.
No. I thought it was. It is not. It is not the same 3 people. Trust me. Hunt the Showdown is one. Okay. On the daily, I'm asked about that, especially if I'm playing Tarkov. Perrin, have you thought of playing Hunt the Showdown? I think you really like it. And I was like, who works for this company? They just drop it in. But it's not. It's
Crytek.
not. They're like, no, I'm just a fan. Then there's Foxhole,
Foxhole's meant to be really good, actually. I own it. I played it, but I didn't really know what to do, and I kind of gave up. But I like the idea of it. Yeah.
On the daily, when are you going to play Foxhole? I think you'd love Foxhole. Mm-hmm. There's a third one, I can't remember what it is, but it was just, it's literally those same few games over and over and over again. And I'm thinking, it's like that with Warhammer Total War, but they're not recommending this game. They're only recommending these 3 games, and I'm very suspicious. I'm like, these guys, they've obviously, this is like a mouthpiece for this games company, and they just go into some Twitch chats and ask people if they're going to play the game.
There's probably some element of that. You know, like, I don't think you're crazy for thinking that generally, because I think there probably is one or two, you know, in there amongst 100 others where that maybe is the case, because like it does stuff like that kind of does happen.
It happens on Reddit. There's Hail Corporate is a subreddit that
you
shows
get a lot of
Reddit posts that are literally, hey guys, who's enjoying a refreshing Coke today, you know, stuff like that, which is just blatant marketing.
But you also get people who I don't know if you've had this before. Like I've certainly had this before, and I don't mind it or anything. It's fine. But like people who donate, you know, to your channel while you're streaming or whatever, to try to like almost like raise their profile because they stream as well, but maybe they're just starting to stream. Have you ever had this before?
Yeah, occasionally. I mean, you get it more because you're a much bigger channel, so it's a bit different. But I do get people whose names are their channel. Yeah. And also people popping in and saying, hey, I sometimes stream this game over at blah. And you just think, come on, dude.
Yeah, well, it's very hard, though, to express interest in your favorite streamer and also be a streamer. I don't know, that there is a weird... I get this a lot on emails. People sort of saying, oh, yeah, I love this thing. I do this thing. Is there a way we could, you know, do a video together or something like this? It's a common query, and I guess like, you know, a lot of the time, I guess there is it's not an ulterior motive. It's just a motive, but it sounds in some way ulterior because I think where it feels like it's, I don't know, it's like seedy somehow.
I don't know. I think it's just one of those things, right? I think it's a different like landscape, right? And particularly like, well, Flax, you've always sort of streamed even before you met Lewis and stuff, but like I never did any of this stuff before Lewis asked me to sort of do it, right? So like I've never really had to build anything up from scratch, you know what I mean? Like I haven't been at a point where I'm like, oh, maybe I need to go to like another channel and try to like, you know, raise my profile somehow or get people to notice me or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
I think that's a very difficult thing to know how to do or to do. And I think
but you see people trying, which is interesting, right? Like it's...
Well, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, of course.
So I did read, I noticed this week that Hideo Kojima, how do you feel about him? He wants to make games that change in real time.
Okay, well,
whatever the fuck
how
that
I feel about Hideo Kojima is please just open up Death Stranding to be a parcel delivering sandbox. Like once you finish the game, you know, like
right.
Let's get some updates where I can just deliver more parcels to more places and fix more stuff up. Because
he's not going to do that.
I would play that game a lot.
What do you think about a game that changes in real time, whatever that means? What do you think that would?
I don't know.
Like?
I can't get past just wanting an open sandbox
I know.
parcel delivery.
Well, what do you think?
Just to finish that off, Norman Reedus has apparently signed on for Death Stranding 2, or at least they started negotiating it. And apparently Microsoft is publishing Kojima's new game as well.
Ooh.
That's Kojima news. But no, Kojima made a game in 2003, PFAX, called Boktai, which had a light sensor on the cartridge. So when he plugged it into your Game Boy Advance, it was called, like the subtitle was The Sun in Your Hand. And the idea was that
the sun is in your hand.
Yeah, you had to play it in direct sunlight and it would be like quite a different experience.
Well,
right?
I'll tell you why it'd be a different experience. As any Game Boy owner knows, direct sunlight is the enemy of the Game Boy screen.
I know.
Why the fuck would you come up with this idea?
The backlit one?
It doesn't matter. Yes. It would be like trying to look at your phone in direct sunlight, even with max brightness. The sun is more powerful, believe it or not, than fucking Nintendo's shitty Game Boy backlight.
But you reckon like people,
you can't see shit? What's he talking about?
Just like shining a torch on it or going up to their light and using that? Like, I want to know if people play this game and also how. Because I assume you have to. I mean, he says the amount of light from the sun is reflected in game to defeat vampires, right? So
I mean, fair. It's not for me, honestly, but I'm glad that people are doing this stuff because it's interesting enough, right? And there will be people who want to play this stuff. Like, I could never in a million years think of that idea. So,
but I feel like only Hideo Kojima can get away with this shit. Anyone else who tries to create this fucking weird stuff gets absolutely fucked. Yeah. Like Death Stranding.
What do you do if you live in Scandinavia and it's winter? You're gonna lose that game, buddy. You're gonna lose that game. And
vampires are gonna fucking take over.
Yeah, that's when you go back over to like Cookie Clicker or whatever. You take a couple of months off and then you come back to the
back when it's summer. Sunshine game. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I suppose that's probably the right choice, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Put together your fan your fan design document for an open-ended sandbox parcel delivery add-on for Death Stranding during the downtime, and then when the sun comes back, boom, you're back onto the game.
I guess the question I've got for you is, and I hesitate to bring this up because I know that talking about Death Stranding and this expansion is something that you guys have done extensively, and I start to fall asleep when you guys start talking about Death Stranding because the game sent me to sleep. So I'm sure there are other people out there.
Yeah, no, there are for sure. Yeah,
but I do want to ask this question. If there is a storyline to Death Stranding and delivering the parcels has a purpose, if you expand that to just delivering parcels, who gives a shit? What's the point? Right. Or you literally just want the gameplay loop of delivering parcels, even if there's no goal, there's no growth.
There's because you can rebuild stuff. I don't know if you got to that point in the game, but you can.
I didn't.
You can rebuild roads and stuff. So you can in some of the parcels that you pick up on the ground, there's resources and stuff in them that you can build. Bridges, you can build zip lines, like you can actually build a network.
You can't look at the mechanism for delivering the parcels as being the point. Otherwise, you're saying, why are we delivering these parcels? Well, so we can deliver these parcels. Why are we repairing this bridge? To deliver those parcels. Well, what for? In the game, at least there's a point to it. But you're just saying, I want it without any point.
No, there would have to be a point. And delivering parcels to places could, build them up or whatever. Like maybe like in OpenTTD, like when a town receives goods enough, the town gets bigger or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there'd have to be a point. I'm not just saying I want to deliver parcels for no reason.
But the story
as
in the
a
game
gameplay
had
loop leading into a bigger payoff, I think it's great, and the way that they've done it feels great too. It feels nice to play. The way the guy moves, the way that he moves when he's got tons of shit on his back, the upgrades that you can get to make him hold more shit. Like it's
I want to
really
deliver
well done.
like pizza and pasta.
Yeah, why
all
not?
this shit to this guy and see him get fatter every day.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I want to like deliver like Rogaine to some guy and have him grow his hair out every day.
Right.
I want
so
to
you're
see
reducing
my
it to
impact.
what sounds like a mobile game.
Okay, you want to hear another great idea for a game as well, and, that I wish they would make? I wish they would make a game in the Star Wars universe where you weren't the hero. You weren't at all a hero, okay? You work on some shitty Tatooine-like planet where it's a scrapyard of all the old starfighters and shit that just barely made it back from like the old wars and stuff. And you just have to like dismantle them for parts and like sell the important shit and stuff.
So isn't that hard salvage or whatever? Hard orbit?
Yeah,
hard
but
in Star Wars. Just reskin for Star Wars.
Star Wars and on a planet, not in space. I don't want to be floating around in space for this. I want to be able to like find cool stuff that I can add to like my house and shit like that. Like so it'd be like a Stardew Valley-ish kind of game, where you can like build up
dismantle a Star Destroyer with your pet droid.
Absolutely, yeah. And you could program your droid to do some stuff automatically for you.
So what's the purpose of the game? Like, what's the goal?
Well, I think here's the thing.
Man, what is the purpose of Dota? What is the goal? To just win a game in the space of 45 minutes,
exactly,
and then you just do the same thing over and over and over again.
Exactly right.
You don't have to have a purpose or goal.
You do. That's the whole point of the game. There has to be a win condition.
Life doesn't have a purpose.
Yes, it does.
What is it?
Yes, it does. All right, name a game that you enjoy And there's just no purpose to it whatsoever. You're just repeating a task endlessly. My point is that all the games you guys are coming up with,
I've been playing No Man's Sky a lot
point.
recently, and it feels like that, and I've enjoyed it. It's fine. It's just a nice game to be in, and there's plenty of games like that.
There must be a point.
Well,
there
let's
has
be
to
honest.
Be a point.
We are games. We're not furthering humanity.
The point
here.
is what you want it to be, though. That's what's nice about a sandbox. You make your own point. You just think, I just want to build something
lazy
cool.
Game
we're just kids moving sand around. We aren't fucking solving the climate crisis, Flax. We're just fucking
I'm not dressing it up as solving a climate crisis. I'm just saying that most games have an end goal. That's the whole point. Is that you're trying to achieve something in the game. Even if it's like, I want to get my house to the maximum level, or I want to build a so-and-so. There is an end game. People complain about games that lack an end game constantly.
Well, I think Minecraft often showed, though, that people will make their own end game, or they'll play it till they're satisfied.
Yeah.
You know, I think if you give people an arbitrary end game, that isn't what some people want. You know, if you just leave. The thing about gaming is that often these AAA studios try and make 3 games in one, and what indies do is they strip out the best one of those 3 games, make it really nicely, and then that is on its own. You know, I think so often you play a game and it's just complicated mad shit. You're bouncing from the strategic view to the next view to the whatever. There's too many games within games. There's also a story. There's also a thing. Like, if you want to get a good story, watch a movie or read a book, right? You don't need to fucking play a game for that.
I agree with that.
Very few games do a good story. And
so
I
you
love
think
what
that
they do.
Minecraft doesn't have like a point, is what you're saying?
It doesn't really, no.
It didn't.
But what about the whole
didn't.
killing the dragon thing?
Yeah,
well, I mean, that was added as a joke, though, right?
You can speed run that in like 10 minutes.
But that was added because Notch said, Notch was told by everyone that your game needs an end, your game needs an end. So he was like, okay, I'll add the end. Do you know what I mean? Like, kind of spitefully. It was kind of added as a joke or an option for people who felt like they needed credits. Do you know what I mean? To make it into a proper real game. It was done in a kind of tongue-in-cheek way.
I just think that a lot of these games that are like sandboxy, there's not that many out there that are like Minecraft. Let's be honest. It's quite unusual to have a game like that. I mean, if you look at, say, a lot of the games that I was listing, XCOM 2, if it was you just fight aliens over and over again, it wouldn't be an entertaining game. The point is you're building towards a final
Rust.
goal.
There's no point to Rust. Yeah, and you've played
Absolutely,
lots
there's a
of
point to
Rust and
Rust.
enjoyed it.
Absolutely, there's a point to Rust.
What's the point? What's the end game of Rust?
The end game of Rust is you beat the server. That's what people are doing. That's why we fucking lose at Rust. Because the guys out there speedrun the good techs, take out all of the AI sites
so the
like
point
the
of
oil rig
Rust
and
is
shit
to
like
just
that.
make the game so miserable for everybody else that they give up playing.
Yeah, that is exactly the point of Rust.
Today I had no
idea. You
idea.
are out of your minds if you don't think that's what it is on the big pubby servers.
Well,
100%.
I guess I'm just too much of a noob. I just guess I'd never actually got that far.
You play on those servers with those clans, their objective is to beat the server by being the biggest clan, take out all the other clans and knock them back to the Stone Age so that no one can challenge you. You win, everybody quits, waits for the next play.
Don't get me wrong, I love a purpose. In a lot of games, you do need a purpose. You need some driving force. I think these days there's a daisy chain, hand-holdy, quest tracking achievement list where you have to follow it all one by one to get there. And eventually, the end. Once you've done all those, it's like, well, you can carry on if you want, but
and you basically are just following a recipe that millions of other people have as well, right? Like you're getting more or less the same experience, like with a couple of little differences between whether you play it with friends or not or whatever.
Everyone wants something else out of the game different to each other, and go for it. Like, I think games do provide that, and
sure.
some people, like, as much as like how different people are. People completely love completely different games.
I'm just saying, I think that most games, even ones where you don't think they do, have a progression and essentially have an end game. Like, you've built everything you can build. But
I wonder whether that's just a trap. Like, I think game developers, some of the most successful games that I've known or played recently don't seem to have a hand-holdy tutorial. They don't care. They're just like, we're gonna just not give a fuck. Like, you just have to dive in. Like, look at Minecraft. Where's the tutorial for Minecraft? For a long time it had nothing. And that's a kids' game. Do you know what I mean? If anyone who needs to know how to play this game, it's kids. Why does so many games...
Actually, I think Minecraft is the most clever because the fact that there is no tutorial or no sort of like prescribed way to play the game, if you like. It means that they can, all these people can print fucking books and books and books about how to build stuff. And
I thought you were going to make a point about how wonderful it is to experiment and discover it.
No, all of the fucking merch that you can leverage off the back of it is insane.
YouTube networks off the back of teaching people how to play Minecraft.
Yeah,
kind of a big one as well.
Yeah.
What a great way to grow your game.
Yeah.
What a great way to grow your game by force the content online where people will essentially advertise for you. You don't even need to make it. I don't think it was a decision.
No.
I mean, it was just a very
happened,
small development team, and the game blew up.
But
subsequently, I mean, geez, my kids watch Minecraft stuff and still play it now, and I don't think they're ever going to stop playing it. They love that game. My eldest still plays that game more than anything else.
My daughter plays it now. Like, she's 5. She never showed any interest in video games, like, whatsoever, ever. And now her and my son play it together, split screen, like on the Switch or whatever. And she loves it. It's insane.
It's not for me, but I would say it's probably the best game of all time. I honestly think that. Because of what it's done, because of how many people love it, I'd have to accept, Minecraft is probably the best, most successful video game of all time.
And it's
probably
so basic,
right?
It's so stripped down. It breaks. I say it breaks the rules, but it just didn't bother. It didn't get developed enough to get the rules added. So many games, and I'm doing Jingle Jam reach out, and I realise how many games have sort of had done this classic thing of go early access, sell loads of copies, and then the developer's just like, I guess I'm done. I'm not gonna hire anyone to finish it. I'm just gonna fucking do like one line of code every 2 weeks from my, while I drink this Mai Tai on the beach. The progress on their game slows to a crawl. They're paralyzed about what to change because now they're held captive by their audience. The game is, basically they're holding it hostage from the dev because the dev can't change anything because every time they do, everyone complains and posts negative Steam reviews. So they're better off doing nothing anyway. The whole system is like, leveraged against them. It's bizarre. Anyway, I'm enjoying me reaching out to people when I get the maddest shit. Back, replies wise. I had a message back yesterday. So I send like an introductory email. I personalize every email that I send.
Very nice.
And
so I reached out to
just put like a bit of your cum in each message.
Email. The fuck?
Please have a drop of my cum.
One sperm per letter. Carefully siphons it off.
Personalize this one. Smell it. It stinks.
You have to look. I forgot system. And so I asked for some keys from this person, and they said, "Hi, Lewis, thanks for your email and inviting us. For taking part, we would need to donate some keys. Is that correct?" And I said, "Hiya, yep, that's correct." They replied, "Here are 2 Steam keys." In the actual email.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, wow.
Well, calling dibs on one of those. What game was it
You really didn't read that email, did you, at all? I don't want to call out these people, but everyone's response is different. Some people are like, I'm constantly blown away by the way people respond. Honestly, like, the world is like a pretty mad place. Last week we were talking about an action hero. God, who were we talking about at the end of last week doing the Arnie impressions? Anyway,
Arnie?
Jean-Claude Van Damme was doing like a sort of thing in Paris, and he had a big crowd of people, and he was just showing himself off.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
People were going wild about seeing Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme visited an optometrist in Paris, which created a crowd big enough that a jewel thief escaped unnoticed from next door.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, he's still a pretty big deal. Like, he's.
What was his last movie?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
He's become a household name at this point. He was very famous years ago, and
funny
still,
that people
still
are still freaking out about Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Jean-Claude Van Damme had stopped by an optometrist near the Champs-Elysees.
Trying to spot his dwindling career. That's what he's trying to fucking get some glasses.
Man, dude is like fucking 65 years old now. He's got to be older, right? How old is Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Fuck, I don't know. You guys can look
103. He's
Van
60.
Damme.
He's 60.
Yeah,
he's just turned 60.
What the fuck do you want him to do? He's been really famous for like
Name
a lot of
good
his life.
Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
Double Impact, baby.
Fucking his stuff sucks.
Take your fancy clothes and your silk underwear. go back to Disneyland.
He's a fucking joke. I hate him. He's useless.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
And still useless, apparently. The Muscles for Brussels.
Didn't do shit. Didn't foil a single jewel heist.
Wasn't he Shredder in the Ninja Turtles movie?
Knows.
He was one of them. I think he was one costumed as some character in one of the Ninja Turtle movies. I'm sure of this. I got to look it up now. Sorry, I'm just going to look it up. You guys carry on. I'll just have a quick look here.
So basically, he, a man held up the next door high-end jeweler Shomei on a green scooter with it's made off with what authorities estimate was between 2 and 3 million euros in precious stones and jewelry. There you go.
Okay.
I like that.
Listen to this, Flax.
Go on, mate.
Bloodsport, Delta Force 2, American Ninja 3, Cyborg.
Woo!
These are all the games on P-Flax's Steam library he hasn't played.
Death Warrant, Lionheart. He had a cameo in Last Action Hero.
Wow,
starred in
another fucking piece of shit turkey.
Nowhere to Run. He also starred in Street Fighter.
Yeah, which was dreadful. These are all terrible movies. Like, these are comically bad movies. These are films I would watch to laugh at them. There's no goodness to his movies. They
Universal
fucking suck.
Soldier, the Return.
Dreadful. Sorry, Van Damme fans. Be honest. You like his movies because they suck. That's
Van
it.
Dammers.
These are all dreadful.
Sudden death.
Honestly, he is a butt hair away to Steven Seagal territory. That's all I'm saying. Like, he is this fucking close to Steven Seagal. And that guy in the 90s, same deal, had made a bunch of fucking movies very similar.
Sure.
Shit. And he's a fucking shit. Shit. He's a shit. I'll sing it all fucking day. Van Damme and fucking Seagal are in the same boat. Paddling down shit creek.
He's really
Fuck
fucking shit. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I'd agree, but honestly, I don't mind him. Like, I'd rather him than a lot of other people who are more popular for less.
He's definitely second rate. Do you know what I mean? They try and get the good ones, and then they check him or checked him afterwards.
Not second
do you know what I
rate.
mean?
Let's keep going. I don't know how far down the rates go, but somewhere way down the bottom, someone's going to cast Van Damme for a film. 10th rate, maybe 12th.
Jeez, that's bad. I mean, you wouldn't want to sail on a ship that was like the 10th rate.
He was in all those
ship.
Coors commercials as well, right? Was it Coors commercials that he did?
Yeah,
more recently.
They had to CGI his splits in, didn't they? It was phony.
Is that some sort of? Are you trying to sell that as an accolade, Sips? Well, he did the Coors commercials.
Come on.
I'm very passionate about my hatred of Jean-Claude Van Damme. I really hated him. When it was the 90s, everyone was like, "Oh, Van Damme's the best." I was really infuriated. I'll tell you what, he's a fucking phony. Him and Seagal. They made out like they were actually fucking experts.
Have you ever heard some of Seagal's music?
No, I haven't.
Oh
but
my
I wish
god,
I had.
man. He's tried everything. Like, you gotta.
I bet his parents let him have a fucking saxophone when he was young.
No, but he's making up for it now.
No, you're not confident enough. You got the clarinet.
You didn't let me play any music. Well, now I'm playing every music. I'm seriously. I think he has like a hip hop album, like everything. Like he's lots of different music.
Him and Seagal leaned hard into that whole, we're actual martial arts experts, and now we're bringing this to the movies when they're not. They're both clowns. And that's what annoyed me. Arnie was honest. Arnie was just a big guy. He never did any fucking cool moves. He just punched people or threw them over things. Okay. Van Damme made out he was a fucking martial arts expert. The lad was soft as shit. He was useless.
Hey, listen to this. There is a controversy involving Steven Seagal in relation to Jean-Claude Van Damme. Would you like to hear more about it?
I would love to hear more.
In 2008, actor Sylvester Stallone declared to the British magazine FHM that at a party in my home in Miami in 1997, Van Damme was tired of Steven Seagal claiming he could kick his ass, so he offered Seagal outside into my backyard. According to Stallone, Seagal made his excuses and left while Van Damme tracked him down at a nightclub and challenged him again. Stallone finished by saying Van Damme was too strong. Seagal wanted none of it. There you go. So
wow.
I think that proves that at least Van Damme is better than Seagal.
I would say it proves they're both a couple of children.
How much had Seagal got off the boil at this point? Because he got a little bit.
Seagal is substantially older than Van Damme.
He can't be that much older.
Steven Seagal is 69. That's nice. That's a great age. And he's made 420 movies. Unbelievable.
That's nice.
He's made 400.
Oh shit.
Oh shit! And he's got $666 left in his bank account.
Oh fuck!
Fuck's sake! Oh fuck! Anyway,
so on bank robberies, because I remember there was that famous clip of how a masked man sort of entered this hotel, threatened the woman at the counter, and so she sort of started putting wads of cash onto the countertop, and he puts his gun down, obviously on the counter, to put all the money into his bag, and she just picks up the gun and points at him. It's a classic
blunder.
Classic blunder. But there's apparently like a bunch of other bad failed robberies. I've got a list if you want to hear.
Yes, please.
So in March, this is actually a month ago, a British man walked into a bank branch in St Leonard's in England. He handed the clerk at the counter a note informing them that he was there to rob the bank. But his handwriting was so bad that the clerk just had no idea what the scribbles on the paper meant. When he asked, "What do you want, sir?" the man turned around and walked away. However, they sent the note to up the chain, and they deciphered that he was trying to rob the bank.
Oh, what?
And then they arrested him.
I wonder how much time you'd do for that. I guess it wasn't armed robbery, but it is robbery.
It's like attempted robbery, isn't it?
For a while,
Maybe.
there was a guy I was at university with used to be a bank robber. I've spoken about this before, but he used to rob post offices. But he never took a real gun, because that way they can't bust you for armed robbery, just robbery. And it's a substantially lighter sentence.
So what would you use?
Just a thing that looked like a gun.
Can't
like
you still get into trouble for using a fake gun?
You can now, but you couldn't. Like, they were like, this is ridiculous. I mean, in a way, it is safer, because it means they're not taking a real gun in. But now that it's the same, why not take a real gun? I guess is one argument you could make, but it's irrelevant.
I don't think people who are going to rob banks are looking up how much time they're going to get
I think they
beforehand.
Might be. I think some of them might be. And that kind of info gets around. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, other criminals are going to talk about it. You go to prison for armed robbery, and there's some guy in there who also did robbery, but he had a fake gun and you had a real one. He's like, I'll see you on the other side. I'm going to be out in 5. You're going to be here for 15. And you'd be like, oh, next time I'll just take a fake gun. So I don't know. I think that information does get around. But I love a shit robbery. If you're still robbing a bank in 2021, they've got so much security that you're going to get caught. Like, even if you get out the door with the money, what are the chances that you're ever going to be able to spend it, that you're not going to be caught?
And all the dollars are digital now anyway, right? No banks have actual money in them.
Yeah, do banks actually keep physical money in them in massive quantities still?
Not massive quantities, but it's certainly, if you're desperate enough to go and rob a bank.
Okay, but what's your likelihood of the amount of money that you're going to get from a bank robbery? Like, I
reckon you could get 5 to 10 grand. 5 to 10
5
grand.
to 10 grand. Yeah. It doesn't seem worth it, honestly.
No.
Like, it's...
But that's behind the counter, I'm guessing. I don't think, because the thing is, you go into the bank now, I think you'd be lucky even to get that.
Yeah.
Because it's not like in the old days you go in and every till, as it were, or every single slot was filled, because that's where you did your banking. So you'd have to queue and there'd be a bunch of people. Right. So you had to go in.
That was the only way to get your money out.
Exactly.
And so as a result, banks were packed full of people getting quite a lot of money out.
Exactly.
You'd have to get hundreds out at a time.
That's the time to do it. They didn't have CCTV cameras. They didn't have those fucking exploding ink pellets. They didn't have those automatic closing doors.
Also, everyone paid for everything in cash.
Yeah.
Right? You paid a lot more in cash for stuff, so people needed a lot more.
And also,
money.
bank vaults were just a matter of you just smack the bank manager in the nose and get him to open the vault. Job done. Like, that's what they did for decades. That's how banks were robbed. But now you go into a bank and stick them up. Huge shutters rocket down instantly, and you're sealed in a room. It's like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, it's trying to rob the enterprise. What's the point? You're just they're gonna beam you straight to prison, dude. What are you doing?
There's better ways. Just pretend to be a fucking, what's his face? Keanu Reeves and scam old ladies. That's how you do it. You make more money that way.
All those bank robbers are now just scammers online.
You Keanu Reeves fan, Flax?
Yeah, I like Keanu Reeves. He can't act for shit, but I like him.
So there was another robbery I want to tell you about. So recently a UK man broke into a car and stole the sat nav. But people have these like cameras, little cameras in their cars now, and it caught a little shot of his neck, and he had a tattoo on his neck that had both his name and his date of birth.
No way.
Nice.
Yes.
I mean, first of all, why? Because you could just ask them. It's on his neck. That's right near his mouth. He could just say, if someone ever needed to know, what's your name and what's your date of birth? You don't just need to point to your fucking neck. And it can't be some kind of aide-memoire, because you can't look at your own neck. Unless he carries a small mirror with him everywhere.
Maybe he's the guy from Memento.
Yeah, but then he has to have a mirror. It must be written backwards. Otherwise,
Let me just check my neck here. Oh, yeah. My name's Brian, and I was born. He just forgets.
Let me just check my bicep. Oh, yeah, to-do list for Thursday. Steal sat-navs, rob bank.
Yeah. So what's it for? That's moronic. I mean, when people have their kids' names or something, you understand that. It's like a sentimental thing. Having your own name and birthday tattooed on a part of your body you can't even read. What's the point? That's just
I have no idea.
Also, that's just an invitation for identity theft. Come on, think.
Flax, I just want to point out to you that sorry to derail this once again and talk about Van Damme, but he is still actively making movies.
Yes, so is Steven Seagal, mate.
He's going to be he's got a voice role in Minions: The Rise of Gru, which is coming out next year.
I mean,
I hate the Minions more than anything on earth.
He's searching for a distributor and an editor for a film to be announced titled Frenchie. So
I watched a Van Damme movie from the 2000s where he's some kind of...
Was it the 2017 direct-to-video Kick 'Em All?
I don't know. I watched it on one of those really late-night movie channels where there's just all kinds of shit on. He's like a pickpocket who lives in Paris or something.
He was
really
also busy in 2011. He was in Kung Fu Panda 2, Assassination Games,
5 movies,
Beurre sur la Ville, Rzewski versus Napoleon, and Dragon Eyes.
Yeah.
5 movies.
Well, if anyone out there knows what movie I'm talking about, there's some bit where he's like, this is the bit I remember. He's on a wall wearing some weird garb, and some people have come to talk to him about something. I'm sorry I'm so vague.
It's all right.
It's like the film jumps from scene to scene. It's like this is when these films get made by these washed up former so-called stars like Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I'm going to go hard here. What happens is the only way he can get funding is find some lunatic who's still a big fan of his that will give him millions of dollars to make a shit movie. And Seagal manages this. Van Damme manages this.
He played Guile in the 1995 Street Fighter movie.
He did.
I mean, I don't think we should be giving him any credit. He's probably a prick.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not even. First of all, how has he gotten away with naming himself a curse word? Right, because that's not even his real name. If I called myself, Leonardo the shit.
Oh yeah, no,
right?
His name is Jean-Claude Camille Francois Van Verenberg.
Yeah,
exactly.
Rolls off the tongue.
He's somehow cleverly given himself this sort of kick-ass sounding name, tricked his way into Hollywood, and now everyone's fawning over him like he's some fucking brilliant old. I guess he's old, and people have forgotten that the movies he was a joke back in the day. But they've sort of thought, oh, he's one of the old.
But that's the thing.
Crew.
These guys get rolling in there, and he gets executive producer, and he's in it, and he has a massive amount of say in what's in the film and what makes it and everything. And these films are horribly edited. They jump
oh my god,
all
he's
over
the
the place.
Hideo Kojima
of French cinema.
He's got some weird fucking shit ideas, and somehow some of them.
It's just his film career is utterly bizarre. If you look at some of his later films in particular, trust me, they are absolutely
Kickboxer Retaliation.
bonkers.
That's a thing, apparently. Kickboxer Vengeance, Kung Fu Panda 3.
Okay.
I think he was in all the Kung Fu Pandas by the looks of it. Universal Soldier, I remember. The Expendables. The Expendables was the sort of the whole slew of 80s action guys, right?
Yeah,
Bruce
it's like
Willis.
a retirement home for...
Schwarzenegger, Stallone. Was Stallone in it as well?
Oh, God, yeah. The Expendables, yeah. It was like
I've
his
never seen
baby.
any of them. I'm not.
It was like
super
his
familiar
whole
with
thing. I mean, he's just like gets all his old mates that are also juicing so they can stay big in their 50s to appear on film.
All those guys did like Planet Hollywood and all that shit too, right? Like that was all
yeah,
there.
exactly.
Fuck's
It's
sake.
the fucking Planet
It's
Hollywood
the same
crowd.
fucking dopey crowd of 80s action men. That's pretty funny, actually. I like that. I don't know if Van Damme was involved in that. Bruce Willis was for sure.
Lewis has just posted an article here.
Check this one
this
out.
is
You can
fascinating.
read it, people.
Are you sure? All right.
Yeah, go for it.
This is what it takes to be a proper actor, all right? Michael Caine spent 8 years of his life walking around trying not to blink. That was his acting technique. He spent 8 years trying not to blink, earning him the nickname Snake Eyes.
And look at this picture of him. His eyes are so fucking red, like he's probably damaged his eyes beyond repair from doing that as well.
He said he read a book called Teach Yourself Acting, which gave him the idea that not opening and closing your eyes in accordance with nature's whims is a solid acting technique. Kane says he put the book down thinking, don't blink. You must never blink. And then proceeded to spend the next 8 years of his life not blinking. Master Wayne, I've noticed that you've been blinking a lot lately, Master Wayne. You mustn't blink, Master Wayne.
He's been in music videos as well, Van Damme, by the way. He was in Body Count in the House in 1992 by Body Count.
This was over 25 years ago.
But then again, how many music videos has Michael Caine been in?
In 94, he was in Straight to My Feet with MC Hammer featuring Deion Sanders.
27 years ago. Yeah. Keep going.
In 1999, he was in Crush 'Em by Megadeth.
22 years ago. What else he got?
In 2020, he was in Ultra Rev by Aaron.
Who?
Well, it was at least a year ago.
Oh, I love that. You said that so well. Okay. That was such a good dad who.
Okay, hang on. Aaron is a French pop rock musical duo consisting of Simon Buret and Olivier Coursier. Their debut album, Artificial Animals Riding on Neverland, was released in 2007 and made them popular in France and Europe.
There you go.
Popular in France is like should be on people's gravestone when their career is over.
That'll be on Van Damme's.
Definitely. Right, well, listen, thank you very much. That was Triforce this week. We'll be back next week with more Gubbins.
Yes.
Guff and garbage.
Yeah.
Until then,
bye.
Peace.
Goodbye.